It's the crunch test for Sheffield's talented Kell Brook, who's in need of a major win to reignite his world title dreams. In his way, a former champion who brought the curtain down on Ricky Hatton's career, Vyacheslav Senchenko. Hello there and welcome to Ringside as we build up to a major night in your home city. And that Sheffield Steel special, well, it most certainly whetted the appetite, didn't it? I think it's got the town buzzing. Yeah. I think there's a lot of weight on Kell's shoulders, and so he has to produce and perform. Yeah, really good watch it was. Will Kell Brook be the next world king off that Winkerbank conveyor belt? With us, our latest champion of the world, Darren Barker. Good to see him alongside his stablemate Lee Purdy, who recently challenged for the highest honours. While Richie Woodall knows just how hard it is to rule both the amateur world, as Team GB and Team Ireland are attempting at the moment, and of course the pros, where Kell Brook's endured a pretty frustrating time of it late, hasn't he? I think it's the best that could have happened to him, because it's made him want it more than anything else. Not to prove anything to anybody else, but to himself. So it's made him grow up and be very mature about what he wants in this game. It's been a difficult year, but can Brook reignite his career and begin to light up the world?
Words can't explain, you know, what I went through. You know, I needed my family around me, you know, at the time, because I was in a dark place. Boxing's my life, you know. I'm passionate about becoming world champion.
Let's see if he's learned the lessons from Carson Jones and how it all so nearly went wrong for Kell Brook.
I've been keeping very active, you know, and on everybody's lips, and you know, I think I've lost a bit of momentum. I was getting to the state where, you know, I was boxing in my hometown, you know, everyone was starting to know where I enjoyed myself through that fight, and did whatever I wanted to do, really.
Timing was perfect, and Kell Brook is the real thing. We had our questions. Boy, did Kell Brook give us some answers tonight.
I pulled out, he pulled out, and, you know, I pulled out again. It was just like, my head were in bits, obviously, you know, being away from my family over Christmas, you know, not seeing my missus and my little girl, you know, all that, you know, for Hendrik not to even get a fight, and, you know, the opportunity since being 9-year-old coming in this gym, it's all I've dreamt about is being a world champion. You know, in my eyes I just thought, you know, it's over, and I'm in a dark place.
After the fight fell through, I remember going up to his house. It was something like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. His girlfriend was out. He sat on the settee. His daughter was walking around. He'd got his pyjamas on and a dressing gown, full growth, you know, a beard, cup of tea in his hand. He hadn't been to the gym for a few days, and I just said, "What's happening?" "Oh, I don't know. It's my career's in the balance." I says, "No, it's only in the balance if you think it's in the balance."
All the haters saying, you know, like I pulled out and I bottled it and all this kind of stuff. They don't know me. They don't know that, you know, I'll fight absolutely anyone. This is the time now for me. I'm coming into my prime, and I just want to test myself against the best out there. I just need to become world champion, so I'm mandatory for that title. If he wins his fight, you know, it's going to be Devon.
You know, the first fight was a tough fight. He underestimated Carson Jones. Nobody else did. We didn't underestimate Carson Jones. But the second fight, you know, Kell handled him easy enough. And I think he had to exercise a lot of demons in that fight. He had to get over the Alexander fight. He had to think about what Carson Jones did last time. So he had a lot of things to deal with before he actually got in, you know, and get through the fight. And when he did, it wasn't like, you know, like winning the world title. It was more or less, you know, I should have done that the first time, to be honest. He should never have given me that fight that he did.
You never stop learning in this game. I know at this level that you cannot cut any corners. You know, that's why I've took myself out of the comfort zone from my missus and my little girl, out of the family home, and I'm living next to Dominic Ingle, my trainer, so he watching over making sure that I'm on point.
He has trained hard. He's been in training for 12 weeks. He's living next door to me. We've got him under lock and key. As you can see, he's in fantastic shape. You've seen him sparring today. He looks good. You can see that he's got the spark back.
This fight for me, it's the new chapter of Kell Brook. You're going to see why they call me the special one in this fight. I've got a lot of respect for Senchenko. You know, only losing one fight on a cut and stopping Ricky Hatton.
Although Hatton was a shadow of his former self, he'd been out the ring 2 or 3 years when he boxed Senchenko. I think the round before he got stopped, Senchenko just started to connect. And then he caught him with a failure of a body shot, which is poetic justice really, because Ricky Hatton finished so many people off with body shots.
I've got the buzz again. You know, I've got to do a job on Senchenko on the 26th. And, you know, you're going to see me in massive, massive fights. I'm ready for it. Well in a day's work, baby.
Certainly seems in a better place, doesn't he? Let's get straight up to Sheffield, where our reporter Ed Robinson's based himself this week.
Well, I'm joined by fight promoter Eddie Hearn, who's invested heavily in Kell Brook. Tell us what's at stake exactly in this fight, Eddie.
Well, it's the #1 position. It's the mandatory position, you know, the one that I always go on about and the one that we work so hard to get. Would have been very easy for us just to stay there and, you know, have some very easy fights and maintain that position till after Devon Alexander fights. And, you know, that mandatory will be called, as usual, 9 months after the last mandatory, which was Lee Purdy. So early next year, that mandatory will be called again. And the winner, basically, of Porter against Alexander will have to fight, you know, the mandatory challenger, which in effect will be the winner of this fight. So everything at stake and a real tough fight for Kell Brook, but I think something he needs to motivate him. And he's got to make a statement as well. You know, he's been out of the ring for a long time, just had that Carson Jones fight in the 1 year period. You know, people want to see, you know, the public expect this Saturday, and there's a lot of pressure on Kell Brook to deliver.
How much of a threat is Senchenko? Obviously, he lost to Paulie Malignaggi, looked rejuvenated a bit, stopping Ricky Hatton in his comeback. But how good do you think he is?
I think he's very good. Listen, he's a former world champion. Yeah, he lost to Malignaggi on cuts, and he was getting outboxed in that fight. You know, he beat Ricky Hatton. He's tough. He's tougher than he looks. I look sometimes beyond that. I look at the team around them. I look at the professionalism. I look at how they're preparing for the fight, how they're travelling, how many people are travelling with them. And, you know, the people behind Senchenko have got a lot invested in him. They don't come out of Ukraine that often. They did for Ricky Hatton for big money, and they have again for big money on Saturday night. But they're here for one reason, to pick up that #1 position. So they're a live threat. Kell Brook's got to be fit. He's got to be great at the weight, because Senchenko could potentially hang around. And if he does, we've seen Kell Brook fade down the stretch. I don't think that'll happen. I think he's hungrier than ever. I think he's done the weight better than ever. And, you know, I think he's going to put in an electric performance. But everything at stake on Saturday.
Exactly. An absolute must-win fight for Kell Brook on Saturday night.
It is a must-win fight. You know him better than most. How's his attitude changed over the year?
I think he's matured massively. It's made him really hungry. It's made him see the good and the bad side of the sport, and he knows, you know, once you're out of the limelight, people don't care. So he needs to push himself right up there. Lee, do you still have faith in Kell Brook after the on-off?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Kell's got loads of talent. He's hard to hit. He carries a little bit of a punch. But, you know, like he said, there's no cutting corners at top level, and I just hope he's done that Saturday night.
Richard, do you think he's got that class? Do you think he can get through Senchenko?
Most certainly. I think he was as good as your last fight, and in his last contest, although he'd been out for a while, he was very impressive indeed, put in a good performance. Probably finished the guy off quicker than what he should have done the first time. But yeah, it's the way he went about it as well. He literally dismantled Carson Jones. Terrific performance, and so yeah, I think he's good enough now. He's not going to let this one slip, I don't think.
But he didn't get the shot against Devon Alexander. You got it out in Atlantic City, and you found out how tough it is at that top level.
Exactly, yeah. He's had a full training camp for his next fight, but things went wrong for him against Devon, and the fight weren't made. So, you know, I stepped in at 4 weeks' notice, and, you know, it's hard up at that level, even when you do get 12 weeks.
Darren, you was in the corner. Now we're talking potentially Kell and Alexander. You was in the corner when Lee boxed Alexander. Do you think it's within Kell's grasp to deal with?
100%. I mean, you can see the improvement straight away from the 2 Carson Jones fights. He's changed what he's done, obviously, and he looks hungry. I mean, I've got a lot of respect for Kell, because I've been through a similar thing with injuries, and, you know, like you touched on before, when something's that close to being taken away from you, then you really find out how much you want it, and Kell obviously does, and I really, really hope he can put in a good performance and get the Brook fight.
There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, obviously, to shine on Saturday night. What does he need to do to really deliver against Senchenko on Saturday, Lee?
You know, he has to win, but, you know, he has to win emphatically, you know.
In style?
In style, definitely. like Richie said, he boxed really well against Carson the second time round, but hopefully he can just keep the ball rolling and shine again on Saturday.
Ricky Hatton made a mistake, and maybe he underestimated Senchenko, or maybe overestimated himself. Do you think Kell will make the same mistake? Because he's a tricky character, he's a sticker, he's a stayer, isn't he?
He's not an easy guy to box against. So I think against Ricky Hatton, he got the tactics right in that he let Ricky burn himself out a little bit after 4 or 5 rounds, and then he started to move in. He's tall, he's rangy, he can be difficult to hit if he fights on the back foot. But I think Kell's got the skills to actually get to him, and I think in his home city, on home ground, then I think he'll do that. But yeah, he's a tough kid, Senchenko, and he boxes mainly at long range. But here, at one point, I thought Ricky had got him, but he got over, he got through the storm. This was round 3, and then as the fight went on, he grew in confidence and he started to get closer to Ricky and catch him with some quality shots.
Ricky and others have been saying he's not a beast, but he's better than he looks. He's won 34 of 35 and that one loss against Paulie Malignaggi, and there's a big team that have come over him. They still believe in Senchenko.
Oh, of course they believe. When you watch him, he's got that, you know, he does the basics very well, you know, but I just think Kell's unorthodox style, you know, similar to Malignaggi, if you like, you know, he can cause him problems, and, you know, I see Kell winning well, I think.
We've all kind of had fighters or sparring partners in the gym. When you're sparring with them, you're better than them, but they just stick it out and they rough you out. And does Senchenko come across as that kind of fighter to you?
Yeah, he comes across as very tough and stubborn, but, you know, I think Kell will find a way, and, you know, I believe he'll get a stoppage.
Well, it's a huge night at the Sheffield Arena, and a huge heavyweight continues his early professional education.
Yes, big Josh is back. Can't wait for that one.
Excited, absolutely. After his eagerly awaited debut in London, where Olympic gold medalist he shone, didn't he? Rather brightly.
It's time now to unveil the great new hope of British boxing. The future People's Champion.
I know I'm fit enough, I know I'm smart enough, so I just got to go in there and enjoy it.
Anthony Joshua! This is where the journey begins. It promises to be fun and exciting. He's going to pick his shots. There's another one of those right hands. Joshua just teeing off with everything at the moment. He is getting tattooed here, and he has to go, and it's over. That's what the fuss is about.
I'm really happy with my performance.
It's the start of a long journey, but I'm very excited and very proud of him.
We've got a massive star on our hands.
There's only one pro debut, and we ended it in spectacular fashion.
This is going to be a great journey.
This is what it feels like.
Welcome to the pro game. What an entrance.
Well, here's the big man himself, Anthony Joshua, Olympic super heavyweight champion, now an unbeaten pro, and looking forward to your second pro appearance against Paul Butlin.
Yeah, and I've had some great training. It's going to be a great learning curve as well to get in there and just carry on progressing on what I've done in my first competition.
It's a chance to judge you against domestic opposition for the first time as a pro as well.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be a good outing for me.
Do you think it's a step up in class? Obviously, your first opponent was unbeaten in 8 fights, but Paul Butlin, although his record is not as statistically good, he's been in with some tougher opposition.
As you said, Emanuele Leo, I'm not too sure about his opponents, but he was 8-0, you know, undefeated fighter. Paul Butlin's had some losses, but has been in with some tough opponents, and I think he's just a bit more of a game fighter. Emanuele Leo is a bit more of a calculated fighter, so it'll be interesting to see Paul Butlin, who's going to come in against me and take some more risks, and I'm going to go in and be a bit more calculated and clever and outbox. So styles make fights, and I'm sure everyone will be in for a good night.
Your debut was in London. It was a great occasion, but Sheffield's kind of a second home to you, isn't it? Because obviously you trained up here with the amateur setup, and you've been up here sparring with Richard Towers.
Yeah, I've trained up here with the amateur setup. So it'll be good for the people who see me training constantly to actually watch me compete for a change. And I've been up here in the Ingles gym, the famous Ingles gym, training with the lion-hearted Richard Towers, you know, big guy, tough guy. He's competing soon as well, so he's firing all cylinders, and sparring's been great.
Will we see another knockout from you on Saturday?
I don't predict it, but you may see some big shots. And whether you can stand up to them or not is a different story.
The journey continues on Saturday night.
Certainly does. Exciting times. You two know him pretty well. He's in your camp.
Yeah, he's brilliant having him in the gym, you know. He's a great lad. Always looking to learn. Always, you know, he doesn't get carried away. He's always asking questions, always looking to improve, and I see a future star for sure.
Is it the perfect match for him? Paul Butlin, 37 years old, 33 professional fights. Does Anthony Joshua have the mental stability to be able to deal with somebody?
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's had a good run in the amateurs, and now it's his turn to make it as a pro, and he's so determined and focused in where he wants to be. I believe he'll get there.
Richie, you worked alongside him, obviously Team GB, he lit up London, he made a perfect professional start. Do you think this is going to be a pretty perfect rise to the top?
Yeah, I think he's an exceptional boxer, I really do, but I just hope that people are going to be a little bit patient with him, because if you compare him to other champions, Lennox Lewis won the Olympic gold in '88, won his world title 5 years later in '93 after his 23rd fight. I just ask the question, are the British public going to be patient? Are they going to give him 4 or 5 years? Because that's what it might take to get to the top. I hope they will.
They're keeping him active. We can't wait for that. Also, Brian Rose has got a really interesting fight on the bill. World title eliminator against his Argentinian, who we saw over in Vegas. Javier Maciel, who's got Miguel Diaz in the corner. Tough for Brian, that.
Yeah, it's a tough fight. I like Brian Rose. I think he does things very well indeed. Very well-schooled boxer. And now that world title shot is not too far away for him, so good luck to him.
Let's talk Smith. Callum Smith. Like
Tremendous.
James Bond, isn't he?
Callum Smith is has tremendous potential. Does everything right. You know, he's very difficult to hit. Technically, he's very, very good indeed, but he's starting to develop the power now as well. But look at him defensively. I'm here. That was a terrific performance there. But defensively, Callum, for such a tall lad, is very difficult to catch. So, a lot of skills.
6 first-round knockouts in a row. He goes in with this Argentinian Ruben Acosta, who's won 27 of 40. It's a big step up for Callum. To us, he looks like the real deal.
He does. You know, you see a sign of a good fighter when they make it look so easy. It's effortless. You know, he's not, you know, trying too hard, and he's putting them away with ease. And I think he's ready for this step up.
Do you think he needs a few more rounds under his belt? We've clearly seen he can punch, and he's got the focus. Do you think he needs a few more rounds under his belt?
Yeah, definitely he needs a few more rounds, but if he keeps taking out opponents like that, where else is there for him to go apart from, you know, big fights? And, you know, hopefully that they can make the right fights at the right time for him.
But he's been learning his sparring as well, hasn't he, with the likes of Kell Brook?
Exactly, he spars Carl Froch very well indeed. There's some cracking spars that they have. But yeah, I mean, I really hoped he'd have stayed for Brazil, because I think he would have won us a gold medal in Brazil at the Olympics. But there you go, he's turned pro and he's doing the business. And the whole family, they're a great family. I mean, you got, what, Stephen, Paul, Liam, and now Callum. Very talented family.
And Lee, you've got your own European title fight ahead in December, so it's back to the gym, I guess. You excited about that?
Yeah, definitely. It's a great fight for me. And I'm fighting an unbeaten man who is going to come over here with lots of ambition and that, and it's going to be a big test for me. But, you know...
Seasoned Italian, but you believe you can bounce back from what happened to you over in Atlantic City?
Yeah, definitely. I take a lot of positives from what happened in Atlantic City, and, you know, I've been in the gym for a few weeks now, and me and Tony are working on a lot of things that we need to put right, and yeah, it's going to be an exciting night.
Do you fancy a scrap against Kell Brook for a world title if he manages to pull it off?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a fight down the line that can be made, and that's one I want, and, you know, it's a fight that definitely can be made.
Thanks, Lee. Good luck in training camp. We'll see you soon, and we reflect on the performance of another of our leading lights after the break. Ireland's Carl Frampton dazzled in the Emerald Isle, while George Groves aims to follow suit in his massive Manchester showdown with Carl Froch. The spotlight's on Groves, who shoots from the hip. Next.
Carl's very good at demeaning my achievements, almost talking down to me with backhanded compliments, and he should probably be a politician. He's that good at it.
What a story this was. Ruslan Provodnikov from a tiny town in North Siberia. He's gone to win the World Light Welterweight crown. There he is with his mum. Terrific shots. It's been a fascinating season so far, and so much still to come.
Yeah, it's a great mix of international and domestic action, which Richie and Darren enjoyed over the weekend.
Here we show that excellent tussle between Provodnikov and Alvarado in Colorado, while in Ireland there was a crackling atmosphere as Carl Frampton moved closer to a world title tilt. Looked good, didn't he?
But Carl's getting married this week, so couldn't join us, but an almost perfect performance, boys, eh?
Yeah, he boxed very well, did Carl Frampton. Super performance, big crowd as well, but round by round, I mean, Parodi, I think, had only lost one in about 34, 35, but he set the pace very well and boxed tremendous. I mean, the referee hardly had to break them up because they were literally boxing away, creating the space and room on the inside, Carl. Lovely counter-punching there. Good performance from him.
Not just set the pace, he set the place alight, hasn't he, in Belfast?
100%. You know, he's a fan's favourite out there, and he looks the part, like Richie said, and he's kept this super bantamweight division bubbling over, and you know, hopefully we'll see these fights against him and Quigg.
So we see him back in action, and he just seems to have just improved.
Yeah, he has improved. I mean, this was a big stage for him and against a good opponent, to be quite honest, but I thought it was a punch-perfect display, and that left hook to the body gets the way. I mean, that's old Barry McGuigan's old shot, wasn't it? But look at that. What a super
The shots are coming from all angles. Hooks, uppercuts to the body, everything. He's got a great variety of punches.
I think Barry McGuigan would have been proud of that, wouldn't he?
He certainly would, yeah. But, yeah, so he's improving with every contest.
He doesn't seem to be even stepping out of first gear yet, does he? Do you think there's a lot more to come from him?
Well, Darren said that earlier about when you box and you let it flow and you make it look so easy, and he did that against a good opponent there.
Unbeaten in 17 now, and will he be a world champion?
I think he's got the potential to.
I think so. Yeah. I do. You know, like I say, the variety of punches, it's all there. It's just, you know, it's all about timing.
Whenever the name Frampton is mentioned, so is that of Quigg, the jewel all of us here want to see.
I thought it was a good, solid performance. Who he was in with, that's exactly how I thought the fight would go. I thought it would only go 5 or 6 rounds. And with the level of competition he was in with, I was expecting him to look good, and that's what he did. The guy who I beat in Bolton, William Prado, had a life and death fight with Parodi. So, I mean, I got Prado out of there within 3 rounds and looked great doing it. But it's like all about levels, and I was expecting Kell to do what he did, and there was no surprise in the result. I do think I've fought the higher level of opponent, especially going off my last fight, who I was in with the Cuban Johandres Salinas. So I do. I mean, Rendell Munro beat Kiko Martinez, who's Frampton's best win to date, is when they stopped him. I mean, Rendell Munro stopped him fought him twice and beat him twice. So, I mean, I do think I've fought at the higher level competition at the minute, and it's like there's no saying Kell can't come up to that level, but I mean, I do believe I'm boxing at the higher level.
Scott Quigg in training. He's back on November the 23rd defending his world title. Didn't seem overly impressed, did he?
I think he dissected Frampton's performance. I'm probably a little picky, but maybe he's just bothered about always being linked to Carl Frampton. Do you think it's one of those fights that has to happen, or we're going to just miss, unfortunately?
No, I think it will happen. I think if they both want the fight, then yeah, it should happen. I think Guillermo Regondo is the man who's sort of on another level, to be quite honest. But domestically, for Frampton and Scott Quigg, I think that's the fight, and then the winner of that hopefully would get the Regondo shot.
It's like your middleweights, isn't it? We want to see these matches. I mean, Quigg, Frampton, it's just got a super fight all over it next year, hasn't it?
Unbelievable. They're both, you know, they're both putting in the performances, both looking good. I know Quigg is the world champion, but Frampton's got that good win over Kiko Martinez, who, you know, who's won the world title now. So, you know,
no excuses. No excuses.
We all want to see it, and I'm sure they will happen. You know, it's the same in my division.
There's another super bantamweight in the mix as well, but there's also some sad news in that division, as Ed now reports from Sheffield.
Well, boxing is such a tough sport at times. We were reminded of that on Saturday night when young Francisco Leal, the Mexican boxer, tragically lost his life after a bout. And politics often plays its part as well. IBF bantamweight champion Jamie McDonnell stripped of his title this week for failing to defend against his mandatory. I'm joined by Kid Galahad, Barry Awad, who's hoping that politics won't get in the way of a possible fight with either Scott Quigg or Carl Frampton.
Yeah, hopefully politics won't get in the way, and down the line I'll get to fight both of them, Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton.
Carl Frampton impressed on Saturday night in Belfast, stopping Jeremy Parody. The next step for him is obviously a world title challenge, hopefully against Kiko Martinez, who he's already beaten.
Yeah, he boxed very, very well on Saturday night, and I think he'll do a demolition job on the Spanish kid as well.
You're British champion now, unbeaten, flying high after beating James Jazzy Dickens. The target for you has got to be WBA champion Scott Quigg, isn't it?
Either way, either fighter. If they offer me the fight, any of them, I'd take them with both hands, because I think I've got the style to be both of them.
Sheffield boxing really on the up at the moment, isn't it? A great atmosphere here.
Yeah, Kell Brook's looking in tremendous shape. Adam Etches is looking in good shape, and I can't wait for Saturday night for Kell Brook to do a demolition job on this kid.
I've heard you do very well sparring with Kell Brook, is that true?
I do all right, I'll tell you that, I do all right.
Lots of talent in Sheffield.
I like Kid Galahad. He reminds me a little bit of Naz.
I do all right. He's a lot better than what he makes out. He's trying to get himself in the mix with Frampton and Quigg. Do you think he has the skill? Do you think it's realistic of him to try and get in that mix?
100%, because he's not far off. I don't think. He's cleaned up domestically, other than the other two. And with his style, I think he'll cause any super bantams out there, all sorts of trouble. So, I don't blame him calling out them fights.
Richie, could he be the silent assassin of the three of them?
Dark horse coming up on the rails, is Kid Galahad. Yeah, his last performance against Jazza Dickens, very impressive indeed, because it was a hard fight. Dickens was always in it, but then he just went to another level, Kid Galahad, and then brought out the big punches. So, yeah, he makes opponents miss, and then he goes back, and you know about that, Johnny, from the gym, from the Sheffield gym. They make the opponents miss, and they go back at him. So he's a talented lad.
Do you think he's got that? Do you think he'll have the power to step it up there with those boys?
I think so. I think he's got to improve a little bit in his power, but, one step at a time. He boxed well last time, and I do think in the future a fight with either Frampton or Quigg is on the cards for Kid Galahad.
Bantamweight Ed was telling us about Jamie McDonnell's story, and he wins the world title and then he loses it. I mean, that's boxing politics at its worst.
Yeah, it happens and we're all aware of it. It's a shame, but as a British boxer, but I'm also a British boxing fan, I want to see dozens of, British world champions. It's a shame that we've just lost one.
It's a bit odd. You've got the likes of probably Vitaly Klitschko, WBC champion. How long ago since he defended it? And then all of a sudden the IBF say...
Well, he's standing as president of Ukraine, isn't he?
Yeah,
that's the news today.
Exactly.
I think that's the end of his career, boxing-wise, if he's going to go for president.
But what I'm saying is to say that he's not boxed for so long and for Jamie McDonnell to be stripped...
It's absolutely gut-wrenching. We're all in it to win a world title. When you win the world title, when it's taken away from you, I really feel for the kid.
We hope to see Jamie back in the ring soon. Now, there's just 4 weeks to go until the major grudge match between super middleweight rivals Carl Froch and George Groves.
Yes, no love lost there, as I found out first-hand a few weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Interesting it was.
Wasn't it? Trying to keep them apart. Froch rattled Groves and Johnny at their first press conference, but that's nothing new to the tough, unbeaten and still underrated Londoner. George is buzzing ahead of his acid test.
This is the perfect fight for me. I want to be a world champion, I want to fight for world titles, and our own Carl Froch is a great world champion. Obviously he's been a great ambassador for British boxing, and for me to go out and beat Carl Froch means that I'm legit, and I haven't took an easy route. Being the underdog is never an issue, never a real problem. I've been there before, and it's just about me going out there and showing what I'm about and showing that I do belong at this level.
So boys, behave yourself until now. Is there any chance of a handshake?
No chance. It's painful listening to this chump.
Totally out of your depth here. Yeah, you're going to get obliterated.
I'm in this game because I love it, and I'll fight anybody, including what's the name again? George Groves. Yeah, that's the kid. Including him. He's getting flattened. It's as simple as that.
Carl's very good at demeaning my achievements and almost talking down to me with backhanded compliments. He should probably be a politician. He's that good at it. I don't think he really wants to fight me. I honestly think he likes to fight guys where the pressure's off. Fighting me, 19-0, 25, hasn't boxed for a world title yet, and he gets beat. Where's he going to go from there? The only guy I need to convince that I can beat is Carl Froch. If that happens before we get in the ring, then it's going to be an easy night's work. If it happens after 4 rounds of our fight, then the rest of the fight's going to be an easy fight. Not remembering my name isn't very clever, because he'll probably end up not remembering his own name by the time I'm finished with him. There's a blueprint for beating Carl Froch. So far, no one's discovered that blueprint for beating me. I'll attack his weaknesses, I'll nullify his strengths, and I'll get him out of there.
The majority written him off against James DeGale. Are we nearly going to make the same mistake here again?
I don't think so. I think it's come a little too soon for George. There's no doubt he's a good fighter, and he's got the amateur pedigree as well. I remember seeing him in the amateurs, but I just think he's a step too far against Carl. Carl's unbelievable, and I think, he'll do the business on the night.
Your old division, George is undefeated, but the split with Adam Booth and the change in trainers, has that come at the wrong time for him?
I don't think that's helped. He'll obviously, he'll be welcoming the new trainer and new ideas.
Paddy Fitzpatrick, who's been around Adam as well, and he's been out in the States too. He's got experience.
Paddy's got experience, he's learned a lot, but now he's taking on George Groves involved now in the biggest fight of his career, of his life. I just feel that with George, I don't think he's seasoned enough yet to be taking on a peak Kell Brook. I really don't.
What we hear from George, he thinks everything's right. He doesn't think the split from Adam Booth is going to make that much of a difference. That's more of a mental thing.
Well,
so physically,
it's good that he's mentally switched on, because he's going to need to be against Cole. You know, timing's not perfect with the split, but you know, if he believes, then you know that goes a long way. Belief, but like I said, I just think it's a little, you know, too much too soon.
Well, we will see less than a month to go until that mouth-watering matchup, which headlines a spectacular from Manchester. Also includes Scott Quigg's second defence of his world title, and a host of other names like Anthony Crolla, Stephen Smith and more in terrific fights. November the 23rd, we start at 6 o'clock. It's a special event on Sky Sports box office. And next week, we bring George head-to-head with Carl here. Bad Blood on Halloween. You might have to split them up.
I'm saying here.
And after the break, we take a look at one of the unsung heroes of world boxing, the classy stylist and lethal puncher, Gennady Golovkin, in an exclusive feature for Ringside.
Reasons to be cheerful. 1, 2, 3. Summer at the seaside, running round the low tide, looking on the bright side, chip shop forks. Kick about together, gas about the weather, giving it some leather, real support. Long drives at the weekend, country lanes and S-Bends, bring along your best friend, the 80s crew.
I'm Felix Sturm, and that is my life in boxing. I try so many things, football, basketball, I try so many things. I love sport always, but boxing is something special. When you win, you are alone. When you lose, you are alone. And that makes boxing for me very special. He was a great fighter. I like his style. I like the last two fights was great. Great fights from Joe against Bernard and Roy Jones. Linkin Park played it out because I like Linkin Park, and it's a song who pushed me before I go in the ring, and I just love this song. Floyd, because Floyd is very, very smart, and he's not just a talker. What is important, to be a talker outside the ring and then be a great fighter in the ring, and that is Floyd Mayweather. He's the greatest fighter at the moment, and I think to beat him, you have to train harder and be smarter, and that is very difficult. I have still this fire to fight, to train every day, and to give my best. What happens after my career, I think maybe I will be a promoter or something else, maybe with my management group. We will see what happens, but the whole focus at the moment is just on my career and my fight.
One of the most intelligent and accomplished boxers of recent years. Lovely guy, Felix Sturm, and desperate to rule again. This man may not think so. Our world middleweight champions on his travels once more, this time to Stuttgart on December the 7th.
Darren, I've boxed out there 3 times, and people try to put the frighteners up before I go out there saying fighting in Germany is hard. Does it bother you, or are you listening to them?
No, not at all. I want to get in the gym after seeing that now. No, you know, I just fancy I'm going to win. I really strongly believe it's my time. I'm, you know, a proud owner of that world title, and I'm looking forward to a long reign. So it doesn't, to me, it personally doesn't matter if it's in Germany or London. I'm going to do the business.
And we're saying off camera, there's no reason for bad blood if you two have genuine respect, a little bit like Froch and Kester. This is about pure boxing, isn't it?
Yeah, like I say, it sounds a bit cheesy and it's a bit of a cliche, but, you know, boxing will be the winner here. You know, we've both got reasons why we want to win. You know, like I say, I'm a proud owner of that belt and I want to defend it. He, I think, is fighting for history. I think it'd be his 4th world title or something like that, so he's desperate to win it, and it's going to be a great fight.
Well, the middleweight division is one of the hottest in boxing with Darren, Matthew Macklin, Martin Murray and Andy Lee. There are many matches to be made at home,
Yeah, Sergio Martinez has long been seen as a world leader, but there's a new potent threat to them all.
Gennady Golovkin's catapulted himself into the world middleweight picture, and there looks no stopping him.
I saw last couple fights, you know, he's very strong, he's very good puncher, you know. I think for us it's a great fight, not just for us, for everybody, for TV, for show, for people, for fans, you know, because he's strong, he's not scared, he's like animal, you know, he's hungry. He has a big mouth, you know, just it's bad business. This is business, this is show business, you know.
You know, he's trying to build himself up. He's trying to get some courage. Curtis Stevens is going to get knocked out, and he's going to get knocked out in a very, very nasty way. It's another knockout of the year candidate on November the 2nd. He talked himself into a fight that he's not ready for.
Do you think you can knock him out? I want. Yeah, I want. This is very important for me. Yeah, I remember my situation. Yeah, I remember my last fight was Matthew Macklin. Matthew Macklin, he's a good fighter. He's a good man, he's a good fighter, you know, he's like gentleman. He's a good athlete. He's a strong guy.
He's dominating the action already, he's looking the boss. This fellow is something special. He's strong, he's solid, his technique is perfect. There's just nothing Macklin can do to stop this. This is like a hurricane coming towards him.
Mix them up, have some fun, okay? I don't want you to load up though, okay?
Oh, that body shot was a killer. That has destroyed Matthew Macklin. There's no point in counting this.
I think his heart's been broken. His heart has been broken, and that is a crippling body shot. It's over.
What a punch. Did you think this fella was fake? He is not. He is the real thing. He may be the best middleweight on the planet.
I thought Matthew gave a gallant effort. I thought that he came to fight. I thought that in the third round, he really wanted to go after Gennady, but Gennady's on a different level. I was offered a chance to train Terry. We made a deal. We came to an agreement. I trained him for most of his career. I trained him for 9 defenses of the super welterweight title. But he wasn't really a puncher. I know people consider him a puncher, but he was only a 50% knockout puncher.
After my amateur career, I'm going to United States. I'm going to LA. I'm going to walk out, just looking, it's good. It's not perfect for me. You know, I'm coming here in Big Brother to able to speak with him. I feel him. He's like my father, you know, my old brother. You know, I understand him 100%. I know him. It's perfect for me.
Terry was more of a athlete. He was a great athlete that just fell into boxing, I think, because of his amateur background. But Gennady's just the opposite. Gennady is not really interested in any other sport other than boxing. He's a pure puncher who has developed a lot of great technique and different tactic of attacking an opponent with his power. So they're totally opposites, I think. But I think Gennady, as of 2 years ago, was probably the best fighter I've ever worked with, bar none.
Oh, I have big career in amateur. I have 315 fights, you know, just a lot of fights. I remember great fights with Lucien Pote, he's a great fighter, with Matthew Korobov from Russia, you know, he's a good fighter too. Andy Lee and Karoli Barzai and Andre Diro from America and United States, you know, a lot of great champions. I remember my time. Good question. No, right now I'm older, I'm smarter, you know. Every time, always, every time smarter, you know. I watch a lot of champions, you know. It's very good for my career, for me, and for my life.
He makes working in the gym for the rest of the guys and for myself a pleasure because he works so hard. And every day we see the emergence of that pound for pound best fighter in the world and maybe the best middleweight to ever lace up the gloves, other than Sugar Ray Robinson.
Great insight in the Big Bear training camp there.
He doesn't mind getting his hands dirty in every aspect of the gym. Now, I can remember being in the studio when he boxed Macklin, and Martin Murray said, I wouldn't get in the ring with him unless I had a baseball bat, and you said, I've got my golf clubs in the back of my motor. How good is this guy?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. I mean, I wouldn't mind going in there with a 9-iron. But look, all jokes aside, he's a man at the end of the day. He's got 2 arms, 2 legs. He does a different class, but I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be afraid of getting in there with him. You know what I mean? I'm a world champion now, and he can only get carried away so much. He's a man at the end of the day. He's beatable.
We love that talk. Macklin, after this, thinks he's better than Sergio Martinez.
Different type of fighter, isn't he? You know, Martinez is very, very skillful counter-puncher. This guy's more on the front foot, very, very strong, powerful. But the Kazakhstan nation are a nation that's developing really good boxers. I mean, Sarik Sapiev in the Olympics was best boxer of the tournament, so technically they're very, very good. They're turning pro. They've got 2 world champions, Golovkin and I think Bulbiet, it's Shumanov, sorry, Bulbiet Shumanov up at light heavy. I mean, so they are developing, but they're not just sluggers. They're very good technical, and Golovkin, he looks the real deal, he does.
Golovkin's fighting Curtis Stevens. Big fight. For Stevens.
For Stevens it is, yeah. I think
he can hit, can't he?
He can whack a bit, but I think it's I just think he bowls him over in a few rounds, if I'm honest with you. I mean, he can whack a little bit. He's going to have to be on his ball, but like Richie said, you know, they're fantastic boxers. They don't get hit.
We'll see that fight on Sky this weekend. Kid Chocolate, he's another one in the mix, isn't he? He's in action on the Hopkins bill.
He can whack a bit as well, I think. I read, I think he's knocked his opponent
dangerous
down.
division for you, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's brilliant. I think he's knocked his opponents down 31 times out of 29 fights, so he can whack.
Richie, Bernard Hopkins is 49 years old in January, boxing Murat, Nathan Cleverley's old opponent.
Explain, Richie, come on.
How
old are you?
I'm 45, I think. Yeah, 45. But, yeah, Hopkins, tremendous athlete, lives the life as well, you know. He doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't smoke, goes to bed at the right time, eats the right food. And, yeah, he's in against an old Nathan Cleverley opponent. The good thing about Hopkins, what I really admire about him, he's very, very clever up here, and he slows the pace down. Grabs hold of his opponent, he'll talk to the referee, slows it down. Very, very good.
He's a one-off. Now, a final word from Sheffield. Ed is with the potential star of this week's show.
Well, I'm here with the man himself, Kell Brook. Lots of pressure on his shoulders on Saturday night against Senchenko, who you've come face-to-face with now, Kell. What do you make of him?
Yeah, come face to face with him. You know, he looks lean, he looks fit. You know, last time out, he looked fit. So we know that he's trained very hard for this, because him beating me, he knows he's got that #1 spot, and he you know, he replaces me. You know, so the last time he came out here, he did a number on Arman Ricky, and you know, he's going to go on this time. Believe you me, you know, he's head in his hands, because that's not happening.
Do you have to make a statement and stop Senchenko to prove you're ready for that world title shot that people are calling for?
I believe so. I don't want it to be a grueling, you know, like a points win, like we're it close kind of thing. I want to look there. I want to look alive. I want to look, you know, I want to stop this guy. I want people to think, you know, this kid belongs at that top level with them elite fighters in, you know, in the world, and that's what I'm going to do Saturday night.
Roll on Saturday night.
We can't wait to join you in a feast of boxing throughout Saturday from 6 to 8 on Sky Sports 3. We feature some of our best hopes, a show headlined by red-hot prospect Callum Smith. And at 8, we switch to Sky Sports 1. We build up to Brian Rose's World Eliminator against Javier Maciel, Anthony Joshua's second step in that enticing journey, and Brook's crunch class with Senchenko. There's that Halloween treat for you next week as Froch and Groves meet face-to-face here in our ringside ring. We're talking super middleweights, of course, and we count down to another double-header from both sides of the pond. Golovkin, Stevens in the States, as we mentioned, Campbell, Coyle, Towers in the northeast here. Our thanks to Richie and Darren as the big boxing nights, Johnny, just keep coming and coming, don't they?
Let's hit the Steel City, home sweet home.
Can Anthony Joshua take the next step in his quest for superstardom? And will Kell Brook continue Sheffield's rich boxing success story? Bye-bye.